fabric of everyday life, particularly at the street level, is shaped by the national and city level political settlement in important ways. Most visibly, Lagos' long history of conflict with federal authorities and the long period of disinvestment in alternative transportation infrastructure, aside from road expansion in the era of military rule, has contributed to the ubiquity of traffic congestion that has come to be synonymous with Lagos.
And this is going all the way back to the colonial period. Lagos State has been dominated by opposition parties, which have, of course, held power at the state level, but then been challenged by a different set of political actors at the federal level. So this has not only had political implications, it has also had implications for development. And one of the key areas in which we've seen this dynamic have a direct impact on progress of reforms and on the lived experience of Lagosians on the everyday level has been the area of transportation.
The political influence of car owners over other commuters also means that transportation infrastructure provision continues to prioritize road construction and expansion over investments in mass transit alternatives.
In more recent years, since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, the earlier trajectory of Lagos, whereby the state was in kind of conflict with the federal government, re-emerged as Lagos came to be dominated by political parties associated with the Alliance for Democracy, which then became the Action Congress of Nigeria, kind of political lineage, whereas the federal government was dominated by the People's Democratic Party. So during this period between 99 and 2015, a lot of areas in which the Lagos state government sought to be independent or to pursue a particular reform trajectory were stalled as a result of this conflict. So we saw court cases emerge, we saw disputes emerge, and these were often over federal state rights or kind of legal disagreements over the state's jurisdiction to pursue particular reforms.
However, the increased collaboration between federal and state governments, since both came to be dominated by the All Progressives Congress APC in 2015, has led to some improvements in alternative public transport facilities.
2015 marked a turning point in this relationship when we saw the previously dominant party in Lagos, so the dominant party in Lagos, merge with other opposition parties nationally to form the All Progressives Congress. And when the All Progressives Congress took power at the federal level, this created for the first time in history a dynamic where the government in Lagos State was aligned with the government at the federal level. And since that point in time, we've seen an increase in collaboration on precisely the areas where there were previously conflicts.
The opening of a brand new intercity train line connecting Lagos to Nigeria's previously largest city, the opening of a brand new international airport terminal in Lagos, Murtala Mohammed Airport, both Chinese funded and built, and the city's increased experimentation with water transport all point to areas of federal-state collaboration in infrastructure provision.
Another recent example of how federal-state collaboration has resulted in some measure of, let's say, improved infrastructure delivery has been the Lagos Metro Rail Line project. So as of this year, we've seen the commissioning of two separate rail tracks, the red and the blue line, by both the federal and state government. And what made this difficult in the past was the fact that in the era of the PDP domination at the federal level, Lagos was prevented, in effect, from continuing this metro rail line project based on the argument by the federal government that the state government actually lacked the right of way to continue to pursue this project because the rail lines were, it was argued at the time, federal. Whereas now, again, in this new era of increased collaboration between federal and state, it has been possible for the state government to continue to develop these rail lines based on that sort of new agreement with the federal government.
Do you to the informal bargain struck between ruling party politicians and the National Union of Road Transport Workers (NURTW), most commuters who must rely on the yellow Danfo minibuses for public transportation almost daily witness their buses stopped by unofficial tax collectors at bus stops or amidst commutes. This issue has been partially mitigated by the state government's introduction of the World Bank-supported Bus Rapid Transport (BRT) system with dedicated bus lanes in 2008 and its introduction of additional lag bus lines in 2012. However, the inability of these initiatives to fully satisfy the massive public transportation demand means that a large proportion of users relying on the legacy Danfo service must still navigate an uncomfortable, often unsafe, and frequently extortive daily commute.
What this suggests, not only for transportation, but for researchers looking at the wider realm of domains in Lagos, is that it would be important to bear in mind how the history of federal-state conflict has shaped the particular reform trajectory within each specific domain, and also to pay attention how the changing relations between Lagos and federal government will continue to shape the development trajectory in particular domains. So the fact that, as we just said in transportation, we've seen a shift towards more collaboration between the state and federal has created the possibility for heavier investment in non-road transport. So it would be, I think, equally important to see what kinds of opportunities have emerged as the historical conflict has kind of simmered down in recent years.